wakey and happy Bitcoin spot ETF day for those that are celebrating. And to be honest, it was a saga. It was a thriller, almost like a Netflix series. We had a lot of drama, a lot of ups and downs, and we're going to be looking at the charts. But they were really playing with us. They were really playing with us. And I actually think that was like consciously playing with us, right? Starting with the whole Twitter drama that the SEC's Twitter account got hacked, the announcement got leaked, they deleted that tweet, then Gary Gensler coming out, then the CBOE front-running the announcement, then having to withdraw the application within like an hour, which heavily affected the market. And then we saw the SEC coming out with the announcement with a document that was shared on their website and then suddenly was removed and deleted from their website. It's all crazy, but what's the end game here and the bottom line is that the Bitcoin spot ETF is now finally approved by the SEC for 11 applicants, some of which include BlackRock, also Grayscale, ARK Invest, and Fidelity. And those are some of the biggest players in TradFi. And probably this is the biggest shift for Bitcoin ever since it launched. It's now reaching maturity status, and it's now on the big scene. It's on the big stage, on the main stage now. And now the question is, what is going to happen once the trading hours at the New York trading hours are starting, right? Because what we have now, as I'm recording this, we have the approval, but now we're going to see how much money is actually flooding into this. And we're going to be looking into that as well. But first off, I want to share with you this tweet from Halving. Rest in peace. He is most likely part of Satoshi Nakamoto, part of the collective behind the creation of Bitcoin. And he made this tweet in January 11th of 2009. That's 15 years ago, where he said running Bitcoin, right? This is a week after Bitcoin went live when the mainnet launched. And he's an absolute legend for what he has done and his contributions to Bitcoin. Whether or not he's Satoshi, he still is a legend. But it's kind of ironic that this is on the exact same day that the Bitcoin spot ETF is being approved, which inaugurates a new era for Bitcoin and eventually also for crypto, because there's other ETF applications that have deadlines as soon as May of this year. We're going to look into that as well. But yeah, Halving, absolute legend, and it's wild to see that the date really falls on the exact same day when this is going through. Now, if you just look at the 1 hour chart here, this is absolutely crazy. Like, this has literally been a Netflix series, a Netflix drama, ups and downs, and leaked papers and false papers, papers removed, people making tweets that literally nuked the market within minutes. So it was a thriller. It was a wild announcement, but it also shows, to be honest, like, people oftentimes say like, yo, you know, the crypto bros, they're all kind of weird. They're all unorganized and unstructured. But then you look at how the SEC handled this announcement. It was absolutely bananas. It was absolutely wild stuff, completely unorganized. And yeah, I think for a legitimate organization that the SEC kind of pretends or claims to be, this was nothing, far from professional, far from actually, you know, organized and all these kind of things. So Bitcoin has not really done much. It's pumping a little bit right now as I'm recording this video. We actually went much higher and had this pump on the fake announcement day to 48,000. We immediately shot up, then down because, you know, it was leaked that was false and it was hacked. But also Bitcoin dumped actually before that came out a few minutes. So that was wild in itself. And then when the announcement came out, you can see these crazy wicks here, up and down, up and down. Nothing really happened, right? And I think that was the least expected reaction of Bitcoin to the news, the least expected outcome. A lot of people were saying this is going to be a sell the news event for Bitcoin. And a lot of other people were saying this is going to immediately pump it, right? I also was under the assumption, and I was expecting Bitcoin to at least do one little pump, right? One pump to the upside as the announcement broke, but none of that happened, right? It just went sideways, like pretty much. It had volatility, but within that range, right? Within that range of like 44,300, there was like the lows here, and then here at the peak 47,700, but didn't go above 50K, didn't go below 40K. It stayed within that $2,000-3,000 range. So nothing really happened, to be honest, for such big news. What did happen though is that somehow ETH started to fly. ETH got a lot of criticism over the past couple of weeks for not mooning, for not going up as altcoins did, as Bitcoin did. But here we are, and you know, Bitcoin, Ethereum is now at $2,623. So it has been going up only. That's a nice 10-15% pump since this whole drama kicked off 2 days ago. So what we've just been seeing here is that since 2 days, the Bitcoin dominance actually has gone down, right? And I thought, or I'm still thinking, that with the ETF gaining traction, the Bitcoin spot ETF, that the Bitcoin dominance is going to go up, right? That's my assumption, right? And the logic behind that is simply because there's now a lot of money flowing into Bitcoin, literally, right? And they have to actually purchase Bitcoin, which is physically backing the ETF. So, but so far we're seeing the opposite, right? We're seeing kind of altcoins picking up. But if you zoom out a little bit, the Bitcoin dominance is still kind of relatively high, above 50% here. 52% right now. But if we zoom out here on the weekly, we can also just see that the Bitcoin dominance is actually going down, right? It's been here around 100% for a long time, obviously, 90 something percent. Then Ethereum massively pumped, and XRP and all these altcoins in 2017. That was a big altcoin year, the first big altcoin year ever. And then we had Bitcoin dominance increasing all the way to 73%. And now we are kind of ranging here from the lows of around 40% or something like that. You can see 38%, 39%. And yeah, now we're at 50%. But I think with the Bitcoin spot ETF, this might actually go up slightly and then go down when the big alt season hits. This is going to go, I guess, below 30%. I think this is going to make new all-time lows. The low here was actually at 36%. So I think this is going to go down in the following subsequent and inevitable alt season that's going to come. On the other hand, if we look at the total 2 chart, which is the everything excluding Bitcoin chart, we're seeing up only ever since October of 2023. So altcoins really have picked up in market cap, and that's really cool to see. From like 400 something billion to 828 billion. We're on track to regain the 1 trillion mark. And if you zoom out here, you can see that we peaked here at 1.69 trillion in October of 2021. So we are far away from an alt season. We're also honestly far away from an actual bull run, but this is cool to see. And if we then look at the total 3, which is total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So these are the lower cap altcoins and ecosystems. We're at 500 billion. And yeah, we're seeing a similar pattern here, right? We kind of bottomed out here, and now we're kind of on track back up. So those are, I think, 3 interesting charts to keep an eye on. Then, of course, we can look at Cosmos coins, what they're doing. They have been going relatively nicely up here, especially Celestia at $17 right now, which is absolutely crazy. Atom above $10 again. We see Asset Mental, Desmos, and Onomi, relatively smaller cap coins. Onomi 25 million, but Asset Mental and Desmos relatively like micro cap coins, up 50 and 38% on the day. Sane Network reclimbing to 80 cents. Omniflix almost at $30 So that's really nice to see. And Celestia also one of the top gainers, double digits up. Stargaze on its way to reclaim 5 cents. So that's great to see that Stars is pumping, and so on and so forth. You can see the list is nice. Things are looking bullish. One very interesting fact about the Bitcoin spot approval from the SEC is how the commissioners actually voted, right? There were 5 commissioners that have voted on this. You can see it down here. And we can see Gary Gensler actually approved Hester Pierce, who is one of the most pro-Bitcoin and pro-crypto person at the US government, also, of course, approved. We have Crenshaw and Lizarraga, who disapproved, and Uyeda, who also approved. And very interesting to see that Gensler actually approved this, right? I'm sure he got a lot of pressure, and you know, with big names like the BlackRocks and all these big names that, you know, also just understand that this should actually just be a formality and not a big drama, which it turned out to be a big drama in the end of the day. There were also two statements from Gary Gensler, which is very negative around, you know, yes, we approved the Bitcoin spot ETF, but we still hate crypto, we still hate Bitcoin. That doesn't mean that, you know, there's going to be other ETFs approved now. So don't expect anything else from this. This is it. And then we have a statement also from Hester Pierce, who is saying the opposite, right? And she's like, this has been so overdue, and finally it's here. We wasted a lot of time, we wasted a lot of opportunities. So very interesting, these like contradicting viewpoints. I don't know how, you know, they're like politically and all this kind of things. That all factors in. The bottom line is we got the Bitcoin ETF, and the bottom line is also that we're now going to see billions of fresh new capital coming in, right? Bloomberg is actually predicting that we might see as much as 4 billion of ETF inflows on the first day of trading, with the possibility of 2 billion directly coming from BlackRock, right? So this would mean that we're going to see big buy pressure today. And where is that starting? Well, as I'm recording this, we still have 3 hours and 40 minutes roughly for the NYSE trading hours to commence, to begin. It's going to be very interesting what will happen, and how fast the ETF will gain traction, because now I think it's really all eyes on exactly that, right? How much is actually flowing into this, and whether there is actually enough demand, right? And I think based on that, we will probably see the next steps, right? And the next step is actually an Ethereum spot ETF, which is also the narrative around why Ethereum is pumping right now, is because now that the SEC approved the Bitcoin spot ETF, it's more likely than not that they will also approve the Ethereum spot ETF, right? And the deadline for that, well, these ETFs have already been filed, but the deadline for that is actually in May, sometime, I think it's May 21st, May 23rd. That's kind of the first deadline. Between May 23rd and August 7th, we have applications from Fanac. I think they're the main applicants, or the first ones, but also BlackRock, ARK Invest, 21 Shares, Fidelity, and Invesco Galaxy. So this is going to be very interesting to see the Ether spot ETF, and this is coming at a perfect time. Why is it coming at the absolute perfect time? Well, it comes at a perfect time because this is pretty much right after the Bitcoin halving. The Bitcoin halving is scheduled for roughly mid-April. This varies because it's not hard-coded in a certain time. It's hard-coded in blocks, and each block in Bitcoin kind of varies. It's around 10 minutes, but it always kind of differs. It's not always the exact same time in minutes or seconds. So this is where we at. 94 days left, 91 days. You see it's changing. Every block, it adjusts itself. But let's say in April, latest in early May, I would say, but most likely before the final deadline for the Ethereum spot ETF decision. So that's very interesting, right? This is like the bull case for crypto this year. Bitcoin halving goes through, which I think is also neither going to be a sell the news event nor a massive pump. It's just something that like happens, and then we will see in the subsequent weeks that there's going to be a slight increase, and this is just causing kind of this bull run phase. This is always like the final catalyst for the actual bull run to kick in. And then we're going to see the Ethereum spot ETF decision, right? And if that goes through, you know, then the next event after that is US elections. This year is also election year, right? So wild stuff. I think we're really primed now for a great year for crypto. And yeah, because some of the candidates are also pro crypto, right? Like very pro crypto. But yeah, the bottom line for today, short term, really is how much is actually flowing into Bitcoin. I think there's obviously 3 scenarios. Either it's less than everyone thought, it's more than everyone thought, or it's kind of what everyone thought. I think if it's what everyone thought and more, that's bullish. If it's less, I think that's quite bearish. But also, I don't think, you know, this would cause a massive crash. Bitcoin, as I said, extremely volatile over this period. Now we're seeing a little bit of a pump rushing towards 47K as I'm recording this. So that's great to see. But yeah, this is really it. I'm going to leave you with that. Thanks a lot for watching. And yeah, expect more content here on this channel around, especially the Cosmos ecosystem. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe and be good.